There we are.
There you are. Well, right on time. Wonderful. And I understand you have another live stream coming up through Mandolin. Is it May 9th?
Yes, Mother's Day.
Mother's Day.
Yeah.
That is your second one through Mandolin?
The second one. I did one at Easter. And it was wonderful too. First of all, to get these things moving again, called vocal cords. You know, after a year of not singing, I wasn't sure what was going to come out of my mouth. Sure. But we got through it. People seem to enjoy it very, very much. And I'm really looking forward to sharing Mother's Day with mommies around.
Yeah. Well, speaking of singing, the year before the pandemic, you put out what they're calling a comeback album, but you never went anywhere, called She's Back. And it featured you both singing solo and doing duets with different artists from the R&B and soul genres. And your voice is perfectly there. Do you have to put in work to keep your voice at this top level?
No, I basically just use it. You know, this thing is a muscle, like anything else. A muscle needs to be exercised. And the more you use it, the better it becomes and the stronger it becomes. Being without using this muscle for a complete year, it was I kind of questioned myself here. Are you going to work for me or what's going to happen here? Yeah. You know, but fortunately, you know, after a few songs, it kind of warmed up and said, oh, this is what we're supposed to be doing anyway.
Yeah. You don't shy away from any high notes on the She's Back album. We hear you singing low, we hear you singing high. When you were helping to choose the songs for this album, did you take your vocal register into account, or did you just say, I'm going to do it?
No, you know, basically, especially with the duets, I tried to do keys that were suitable for my duet partners. And I have an ability to sing around them, which we found quite interesting in most cases. But as it turned out, everything worked perfectly. And the songs I did on my own, of course, were suitable for the keys that I sing in now.
Yeah. When you started singing, there weren't in-ear monitors the way there are now. Do you use in-ear monitors when you perform on stage?
No. No, I use monitors on the floor. And I 90% of the time I'm listening to the music that surrounds me. So I can't have anything in my ear. In fact, even when I record, if I have to use earphones, I only use one on one ear.
Wow. Do you listen to a particular instrument when you're singing to keep the timing and to keep the pitch?
No, well, basically a piano, of course, keeps you in tune. But every instrument is vital to what I hear, you know. I've always said, and I will continue to say, live musicians is the only way to record. You know, I don't care who's doing it. You know, these kids who are able to sing to a computer, it's beyond me. It really is beyond me. You know, a live musician has the ability to give something a breath of fresh air. You know, a drummer will do something, maybe the bass player here, that it promotes something out of him that the piano player will hear and promote something out of him, and that of course stimulates me. Yeah. So you know, we all kind of, the word I'm going to use is groove together.
Yeah. Well, something that I think is very cool about you is that you're analog about some things, you're super modern about other things. You kind of change it up. So your new album, or to me, it's still a new album, is very fresh, but classic sounding. But we've seen you in 2020 have this big rise on social media. Now, have you always been a fan of the internet, or is this something in the last few years you got?
Yeah, definitely the last few years. I did not want to even interface with the computer at all. Both of my sons just kept at me. You know, they gave me one for my birthday. It sat in the box for almost 2 years. Took it out of the box. And once I took it out of the box, they made me take it out and set it up for me. And then I just sat there and looked at it. I said, so now what do I do? They said, well, turn it on. I said, well, how do you do that? It was like a mystery. Um, I'm finding that I'm using it an awful lot, of course, like everybody else is. It seems to be the only way we can communicate these days. And I swore I would never get a cell phone. I swore I'd never do that. And yet I was talked into it by my grandchildren. They finally said, Grammy, if you get an iPhone, we can look at each other. I said, we can? They said, yeah, we can. And that's how I got my iPhone. We do FaceTime. Every day I look at my baby's faces and it's a joy, so I'm kind of hooked now. And being on social media at this point in time, something I never thought I would do, but here I am.
But that's funny that you should say that your grandkids were a big motivation because you saw, hey, I could save a lot of time and this would be a lot of fun. For my father, it was that he could just check his stocks immediately. So I think we all find the one thing that we wanted, and it was family for you. That's better than stocks.
Absolutely. Funny.
And then something I loved within you becoming kind of like the queen of Twitter is you had a little bit of a feud back in December with a professional wrestler, MJF, Maxwell Jacob Friedman. You remember that one?
Yeah. It was hysterical. Yeah, I'm going to get in the ring with you. Of course I am. Let's get real here.
Well, I'd have to imagine that being in entertainment at such a high level for so many decades, that wrestlers did come to see you over the years at your shows, that you did meet a lot of wrestlers.
I did, and I met a lot of them through one of my dearest friends, Luther Vandross.
That's right.
Luther was, you're talking about the biggest wrestling fan in the entire world. That was Luther Vandross. I would get calls at 4:00 in the morning from Luther. Did you see the match last night? What match are you talking about? It's 4:00 in the morning. What are you talking about? He said, the wrestling match. I said, Luther, 4:00 in the morning, you're talking about a wrestling match. No, and only he would I ever have accepted a call like that from anybody.
Wow. That's such a unique side of him that I don't think anybody really knew about, aside from him singing the national anthem at a WrestleMania.
Exactly. But that was a joy for him. That was the biggest thing that could ever happen. I'm singing the national anthem. I said, how wonderful for you, darling. I'm so thrilled for you.
Got it. So when you have a feud with somebody like a Maxwell Jacob Friedman on Twitter, something like that, that doesn't bother you. You can just laugh it off.
Oh, absolutely. I don't think he would ever attempt to think about coming at me in any fashion other than, hello, Miss Warwick.
Exactly. So do you know if you have a June or a July mandolin show or future plans?
No, we haven't gotten that far, but I never say never.
Great. Well, I have two quick questions for you, and then you're free to enjoy your evening. And the first one is, Ms. Warwick, what are you watching on television these days?
Oh my! Well, I'm hooked on Netflix, and I've watched every single episode of certain things that they've had on. Lucifer has been my biggest one. I have loved it. I just watched a series called The Good Witch.
Sure.
And it was delightful. It really was. I had a great time watching that. And I binge. I don't know how to turn off the computer and go to bed until 5, 6 o'clock in the morning after I've watched the nine episodes. It's like, what time is it? Oh my God, But it has been wonderful, and it's been kind of a nice, relaxing relief for me over this past year.
Sure. Us too in this household. And my last question for you, and I say this as somebody, again, high level, Hope the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame induction happens. You don't need it if it doesn't happen, but if it does, congratulations.
Thank you.
My last question is, any last words for the kids?
Yeah, what I'm trying to promote as I do my tweets, or my tweets, as I've been able to say, kindness, smile. That's really what it's all about. And I found, which I'm thrilled to be able to say, when I first got involved with it, I was not too happy with what these babies were tweeting to each other or around each other or for them. And I said, no, we got to put some little laughter here and some hope and happiness,
Mm-hmm.
And I found, and Jack has even let me know that you really turn these kids around. You're finally giving them hope, and they're being nicer to each other, and it's not as much madness as I've been seeing over the past few years. And I'm thrilled about that. I really am. I'm loving the fact that they feel open enough to ask me questions, and they know that I'm going to answer them. I'm going to give them a straight up answer.
Yeah.
And I like the fact that they expect me to ask them questions. So I want them to always feel that I'm learning from them as much as they're learning from me.
Well said. Well, thank you so much for your time. Looking forward to not just seeing you on mandolin, but back at, say, Westbury Music Fair in New York when things get back to normal. So just keep up the greatness.
Thank you, darling. I really appreciate that.
Paltrocast.